And joining me now is Salman Khurshid, Congress leader. Mr. Khurshid, I appreciate your time. An election has taken place for the post of the Congress president after a period of over 20 years. Last one was rather an unequal contest between Sonia Gandhi and Jitendra Prasad in 2000. You would have seen that election. You are seeing this election as well. But the Congress, your party, is all set to get a non-Gandhi president for the first time since 1999. What does it actually mean, sir?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. But let's also be clear why and how this has become possible. This was a clear decision and an aspiration that our top leadership had. Mrs. Gandhi had a very clear aspiration that in the circumstances that we had arrived at, it was important that a flawless internal democratic election. We were all very keen for entire period. We were all very keen that Mr. Rahul Gandhi become president again, and many of us beseeched him to become president, but he was very clear in his mind that it was important that someone else in the party, whoever was preferred across the board in the party, should take over as president. And so, obviously, when that happens, there would be more than one candidate, obviously, and therefore we now have two candidates. One was disqualified, and we have two candidates in the field. Both are deserving, both are very good, both are very likable people. But obviously, some will prefer experience and age, some will prefer the excitement that is brought by a candidate like Shashi Tharoor, and let the best man win.
Fine enough, let the best man win, Mr. Khurshid. What about you? Who do you prefer?
Well, I had a difficult choice because, you know, as I said, one person I've known for a very, very long time from Karnataka. The other person has been a very, very dear friend. But I had to get the sense of the house, as it were, from Uttar Pradesh. And the sense of the house was that it was fine if I would go ahead and nominate Mr. Kharge, which is what I did. And that's about as much as is out in the open, and that's much I can tell you. The actual vote that is cast is obviously confidential, and that will never be known.
One view certainly is that Mr. Kharge is an unofficial establishment nominee, given the kind of support that he got, several, very clear on the surface. On the other hand, there is Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who has leveled this charge that this was an uneven level playing field.
Well, I mean, in elections, people say all kinds of things. But I think one can say that with some degree of comfort that whatever is being said is quite marginal. Let's not forget that Mr. Kharge has a huge and a long period in which he has served in very important positions in the party, and therefore he's touched so many people during his career. Shashi Tharoor is, as I said, an exciting person. Shashi Tharoor, I'm sure, also has some very, very committed supporters. It wasn't an easy choice. But I can say for myself at least clearly, nobody ever spoke to me to say nominate Mr. Kharge and then stick to Mr. Kharge. It was my choice that I chose to nominate Mr. Kharge after having got the sense of the House from my colleagues in Uttar Pradesh, and that I have continued to support him. But because I was given to understand that the moral responsibility of people in the working committee was to ease off on campaign, etc., and not do vigorous a campaign for anyone. We stood by that moral precept. But there were other people who were in office who were told not to campaign at all because they held some party office. And I think that's about as fair as you can get in the existing system in our party. Now, if somebody has a perception of one kind or another, I don't know whether there is any way to eliminate it entirely.
My last question to you, Salman Khurshid. Would you say that these elections have actually strengthened the unity of the Congress, given the fact that Mr. Kharge, when he filed his nomination papers, several members of the G23 were not only present, they were also proposers?
Well, I think that's an important factor, but this is not everything. I think a lot will depend, frankly, on how we take whoever becomes the president, takes the party forward, and takes the party forward in consultation and with the advice and with the regular scrutiny, as it were, of our top leadership. Whoever becomes president will become part of the top leadership, but the top leadership is there without an election. You don't have to decide in an election whether somebody is the top leader of the Congress or not. I think that's apparent on the ground, that's apparent in the air, and that's apparent to most of us who work closely in the party. How these things are worked upon in the future, I think, will be very important. And ultimately, the two candidates in this election, how quickly they accept whatever has happened, put it behind, and then stick together, come together to contribute a comprehensive unity in the party and a commitment to work together. I think that all will be a major contribution. Let's not forget that the Bharat Jodo Yatra is continuing with tremendous elan and with tremendous support across the board. And this, as it moves forward into other states, more popular states of North India, I guess will be also a very critical factor.
All right, Salman Khurshid, I appreciate your time. I hope to see you on 19th again when the results are announced. Thank you so much.